So yeah, the first question is from Lamont F. E3B. Is being asleep sort of the same as being placed in nine ether overstanding? All right, let's explain nine ether a little bit, because people tend to think that, like you say, being asleep is being placed in nine. Nine ether is the combination of all conscious and conscience gases. When we say gas, we're looking at the finer, you see, like when you look at the periodic table, it might have like the noble gases. Gases permeate everything, right? So we're dealing with nine, when we say nine ether, we're saying the combination of everything. And it's even beyond things, because the English can be the obstacle when you're trying to explain things. So when we say everything, a thing is something that is quantifiable, has been defined for you to know that that's a thing. And things can be very, very minute or very tiny or very small, to the point where you can't even see them with the naked eye. Hence the periodic table, when they were trying to quantify the smallest thing, they was at a time when they didn't know that there were things that were smaller than what they were calling the smallest things, being the hydrogen or the atom. Like, they were like, that's number one. There's nothing else beyond that. And then coming this way, you know, they started to put onto this table the more things they found. But they were like, okay, H1, hydrogen, H2, helium, you know, and on. C3 is carbon, O8 is oxygen, you know, nitrogen, etc., etc. So those lighter ones, as you compound them, so one compounds with two and then with three, and then you start to build blocks, and you come down in vibration from those higher, smaller elements to the most dense things on the planet, like things that are heavy, like metals, and you know what I'm saying? So when we say ether, if we started to go to the other side, where they later on discovered that, oh, if we actually subdivide the atom, it breaks up into something smaller. And then they tried again and kept trying to break it up into something smaller, but it's like it never ends. So they started to go, okay, quarks, zeeties or zeelies, biaps, you see what I mean? They had to start giving them names, and they discovered that there are elements called ether. So the ether composes everything, yeah? All conscious, conscience gases, conscious and unconscious, everything together. So when you say, is being asleep sort of the same as being placed in nine ether, you're already in ether, but there are different levels of ether. Now, if you said, because you may have a soul, you can then travel to higher levels of ether, yes, but really sleep is the sister to what people call death, right? What do we mean by that? The master teacher explained to us that when people go to sleep and they're having what they consider dreams, yeah, if you never woke up from your sleep, you wouldn't know, because it's the same as dying. So when you wake up, then you're like, oh, I'm still here. But if you didn't, only the people that are left watching you or seeing that you're no longer animated or no longer moving are going to go try and shake you or whatever and say, oh, you know, he or she has gone. Yeah, so being asleep, if you have a high spiritual being and if you have a soul, you can travel to higher level of ethers or different realms and experience that. And if you know what you're doing, and we don't advocate for people who don't know what they're doing, excuse me, to focus on this whole like astral projection and people trying to tell you what to do, because you can actually leave your body and don't come back, or you leave the door, the gate open, and somebody else can take your vessel, or some other entity can take on your body and then utilize it for themselves. So if you don't know what you're doing, these practices of trying to, go to different realms and dimensions and experience things can be dangerous. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. But you're connected to the ethers. Like, there are ethers on lower levels, there are ethers on higher levels, and it's in cycles. Yeah, so we explained that we only use the number 9 because it's the highest number, because you go from, say, positive numbers anyway, you go from 0 and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And after that, you're just using those numbers again for a new cycle. So then 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and you're going to get to 19. And then it'll be another cycle going up. You could equally go the other way, where you're going to go from the 0, go -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, etc., going the other way. And it's a cycle going downwards. So you kind of have this ascending levels of ether, and you've got descending levels of ether. And some beings can't go past certain levels, because to go to the higher levels of vibration, you do need to have the mechanism to take you there, which is, your spirit and your soul. Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the next question. Oh yeah. For all of you saying Freedom for the Master Teacher and listening to the soundtrack, we have the link in the chat for you to support the track, because we want that sound, we want that message to ring worldwide. Freedom for the Master Teacher. The track is by Love and Unity, and it's something you can do. I mentioned the whole kind of like festive season that we're in, the Christmas and so forth. This is a good gift. You can buy it for someone or buy it for yourself. It's less than $2. I think it's like $1.50 or something. So that's one way you could help. And all the proceeds are going to go towards the Freedom for the Master Teacher. So if nothing else, that's a very simple and small gesture of goodwill, a free will offering that you can do and get something as well. You're getting that beautifully produced track. I mean, we've been playing it for so long, I'm sure some of you know the words by now. And, good music is good music. It never dies. I've heard that so many times and I never get tired of it. So, yeah, you can support us. It's a download. You just go to your account once you've actually made your free will offering and download the track, and it's yours. Okay, so next question, Coco Brown, 5555. Rahubat. One day I'll have to make it to the Croydon store. I went to a few meetings in the Brixton store before they stopped having classes there many years ago. Coco Brown, I didn't know you were in the UK. For some reason, I thought you were across the waters. Well, yeah, definitely come to the store. We encourage everyone, to visit and come and fellowship with us live. All right. And we have classes definitely every week. So yeah, come down. Reconnect. All right, we've got another question. Life is a blessing. 247. Rahubat Moisar. Will there ever be a period when another group of golden children are sent down to this planet. We have to focus on the now, you see, because a lot of times we have something now and we get into this, we kind of get spoiled because we have so much information. So for example, you have a lot of people that just become information junkies. You know, they're just about the next book, the next book, the next book. But they haven't mastered the ones they've got, or like haven't really digested what they've got. We've got the master teacher here right now. People will ask, like, will there ever be another master teacher? But the mission right now, and the master is here now. And now is all you really know, because the past, even though we know it's all in the same, there's no past and like future in the way that people think, like a clock going back and forth. Right? It doesn't work like that. They're all existing at the same time simultaneously, but at different densities and different, I use the word realm a lot, okay? Or different time belts, different continuums, you see? So the current golden children, we have a part of that called the golden children, they have a job to do. And part of that job starts with them being activated by the master teacher. So I'm saying we have to focus on the events right now, because they may not be what you're calling the future, depending on the events and what we do now. So we judge ourselves every single day by the decisions that we make. And it's not just on an individual basis. Yes, you're making the decisions every day individually, but we're also collectively making a decision that affects the fate of this planet. And that's why we as Nuwapians, Sabians, or anyone that is about consciousness and dealing with doing the right thing and being on the agreeable side, we are keeping this planet going, because if we didn't exist, it will be total chaos by the disagreeable beings that don't want to leave here, that want to remain here, and they like to cause chaos and havoc and, the enslavement of people's minds and so forth. They feed off of that type of negative energy, and they have an agenda because they actually subsist. They live off of that energy. So those of us who want to elevate and raise our consciousness to be like the beings on the higher vibrations, because of us doing that collectively, it has an effect on the planet. This is referred to as entropy, yeah? Because you're dealing with, when you start to study things, nothing stands still. Everything is vibrating. Everything has a movement. Okay, it's oscillation, up, down, contraction and expansion. So the more force that is applied to, say, an object, like if I start shaking this, see, that's vibrating. So the more negativity on the planet, the more like the imbalance, you see. So the positive and what we would refer to as negative, these are just states that we can use to say you need the two in this, the polarity in this 3D dimension world to keep balance. So it's important that all those who are thinking positive thoughts, positive actions, and are trying to do the right thing, changing their being, because you also are dual, right? You have an aura or an energy field that changes based on how your moods are and how you think. This is why the lower forces, they try to pull you down, and you hear the word depressed. You get depressed by negative emotions, people that are doing negative things and creating the chaos and the negativity on the planet. And then the people that are doing the positive things are going to pull up. When you're depressed, when you're down, you're feeling low, you don't want to, You don't want to do anything. Like someone can come and cheer you up, lift up your spirits. You yourself, all you have to do is go, like when you're going through that depression or something negative and you're feeling low. That's why, we mention how words are so important. You get up or you say to someone, hello or hello, and bring the vibration down, like without even realizing you're doing it. And so what we're saying is, when you're ever feeling those negative emotions, you can go and do something positive. Even like music has an impact on this, because you got music that is dedicated to when you're feeling low. Like someone is going through something and they play all the sad songs and then you're like, nah, come off that. Let's play some upbeat music, lively music, something that's going to make you feel good. So you can always, the minute you start to feel that way, do the opposite to that. Go out and exercise instead of just sitting at home and then like, oh, I can't be bothered to do this. Or be around other people who are, going to give you that positivity, that positive energy. That's where you get all these motivational speakers and people that can really, get you to think, yeah, I can do better. I can do this. So this is a good time of the year, because even though we are not, like, we have our culture, our own calendar, our own way of life, but we're still in the Western Hemisphere, we're still dispersed, we're still under certain jurisdictions, but we utilize like, okay, New Year's coming. Yes, a new year for the Gregorian calendar. We have our year, June the 26th, in the summer, right? So what I'm saying is you can use that as a goal to go, do you know what? I'm going to change. I'm going to give up this. I'm going to stop. I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to stop eating this crap. I'm going to be more positive. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to do something positive. I'm going to start subscribing to OSM Vision. I'm going to watch all the videos. I'm going to join the Telegram group, go through all the chat so I can gain as much of the knowledge these brothers have been sharing. You can use it as a marker to say a new beginning, a new cycle. You see, so we don't look at any situation we find ourselves as down and out or negative. What we do is utilize it, and we use our way of life, Wu-Sabat, to counteract it. You follow? All right, so yeah, there's no way that it says there will be another period with another group of golden children. We got to focus on the here and now. All right? That's for you. Life is a blessing 247. Okay, Life is a Blessing also says, is it okay for us to own pets or even have been living with animals in our homes? Let me see if I can find, the answer is, it depends. We have this scroll called the 33 Commandments of the Sabians, and it answers that question very clearly. I'm gonna see if I can find the page quickly. If I can't, I will just give you off the dome. But it's important if I can find it and just read it, because we don't keep certain pets because you can't, like when you live, especially like, or if you have pets that don't belong in the home, they have their place, and you don't want to share DNA with animals. And the longer and the more you're around animals, then you there's a risk of that. I'm gonna try and find it because the way it is written is very clear. I mean, while I'm looking for it, what I would say as well is you have to also look at the reasons why, because there's some people that, for example, can't see and they need a guide dog to help them around. So there are legitimate reasons for animals, but you're really enslaving animals and calling them pets. You know, most of the time, people take them from their natural habitat and take them somewhere else. And like, if you think about fishes or whatever, like you create a little tank for them and enslave them in the tank, and they're not free as they would be in their natural. Or some people would take, you know, breed certain dogs with certain mixtures, and then when they turn on them, I just saw they turn on them because their nature is to be aggressive, and then you're surprised when they do that. When, you know, or even like taking them to a zoo, a lion, a tiger, and so forth. And I know those are not exactly pets. How comes anytime I want to find something, I will find it, because I think it's very good for me to read. You want to find it?
No, just the first.
You want them? Oh yeah, because that one as well. We're live, so you know we can take our time. We'll get through all the questions. I think I've even passed it, but I want to just make sure. All right, let me see. I'll go back to the. Is it? I wonder if there's anyone online that any of the brothers could find it for me. Okay. All right, here we go. I found it. So this is on page 16, which is slate 9, yeah? It says, 1, we do not enslave wu-nuwapu, animals, or call them pets, as if they have no choice. 2, especially not wu-nuwapu, porcines, wu-nuwapu, simians, wu-nuwapu, apes, or wu-nuwapu, monkeys. 3, or wu-nuwapu, canines of any breed. 4, or Wu-Sabat, reptiles, lizards of any kind. 5, unlike the Adamites, who are genetically related to them, we have no need to rule or enslave mubrayat creatures and call them my pet, even rename them. 7, you can't have muhayat animal smells in your makhlun home, where you have your mithkar altar to your muslafu ancestors. 8, you can't pray in a place where muhayatu animals dwell or visit. 9, never let a muhayatu animal's saliva enter your khatat body. 10, living with animals will make your sense of smell change. 11, or become defected. You can't recognize odors. How you say that word? orders readily. 12. As you become used to the scent. 13. Muklabhu, dogs are muzabu, wolves, carnivorous. Mudbabu, beast, not pest, not pets. 14. Saliva exchange affects your DNA. Don't kiss moyatu, animals. 15. People live on the streets and have no bora, food, while you feed pets. 16. Do not be cruel to human beings. 17. Do not be cruel to moyatu, animals. 18. Mukmanu, human beings are also moyatu, animals. And that's where it stops. Sawab kawun sawab, truth is truth. So that answered that question on animals. Obviously, if you want to come back with any further questions, we can, you've taken my questions away. All right, let's look on the chat. Yes, please.
The sound is back.
Is it?
Yeah, it's back. It only went for a split second.
So they didn't miss my answer?
I don't know.
Well, if you didn't hear me, because apparently we lost the sound for just a slight moment, let me know. We can, I can go over it again. All right, so that was for you. Life is a blessing. So you have to decide for yourself, but that's the commandments for us, Musbatu. All right. Grace Njoki 8123. Rahubat Moisa. Saken, do you forgot threads?
Social media.
What does that mean?
Threads is social media from Meta.
Oh, is it? Okay. I am there sharing Wu-Sabat. Okay, well, thanks for letting us know. Yeah, I don't know all the social media platforms, so if we can utilize that as well. But this is the thing, like everyone can also share what we do on the other platforms. Any platform that you're a part of, share the links and let people know about Wu-Sabat. All right, next question. Okay, he's saying we forgot about threads. All right, we'll look into it, and if we can use it as well, we'll do our best. Okay, Toria Edwards, 2564. Rahubat from South Carolina. Do OSM do one-on-one sessions? Yes, we do. The email is info@osmvision.co.uk. Send an email expressing that you would like to do one-to-ones, and we'll hook that up. Yeah, that video that we did for Christmas, for those just joining in. Remember, you can share the video now, like it, share it, get more people on. It's called The Shocking Truth About Christmas, 3 Jesus Characters and the 3 Wise Men. The link is in the chat. Catch up. Watch all those videos we've ever put out and you will learn so much. You know what a lot of people say to me as well, right? And as I'm sure they say to other student teachers of the master teacher, like some people even say, so Ken, I just want to be like you. I want to be able to do, and I'm like, all right, cool, you can. Everyone can. But the thing is, you have to put in the work. You have to study. You have to read. You have to let it live through you. Because some people will say, oh, you're just regurgitating the master's words. But the master knows that we have to be a part of the process. And when you listen to people, you'll see that when it's yours, it comes from you. So you kind of you own it as well. You become a part of Wu-Sabat. And so, different teachers are going to express things in a different way, but it's the same information, and we can all check each other. You know, sometimes people might say, "Oh, you're saying something different from the other teacher." Sometimes that's not the case. It's just that there's so many different ways you can go. All right, we've got a live caller. I'm going to stop and take that. Come back to that. Rahubat, greetings. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Rahubat.
My name is Sean. I'm calling from London. It's been a while since
Yeah.
I've tapped in on the lives. I just have. First of all, actually, I just want to say I appreciate, love you, Saken, for
Likewise.
spreading this information. You know, this is the information that we need at this day and time, and I honestly want to say thank you, appreciate, love.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
uh,
Appreciate, love you too.
So
thank you. And yeah, we're just doing our job as the master students. Go ahead.
thank you, Zamal Tautak. So so my first question is: I've been reading the Sacred Wisdom of Tahuti,
Yeah.
and have you got the book with you?
I actually have, yeah. It's one of the ones that it's one of those books that you can read over and over and over and over again. But yeah,
Man,
I have it with me. Go ahead.
isn't that true? Like I'm just like I've made so many highlights just trying to go over them and trying to overstand. Mm-hmm. And so there's this I'm at a point in the book, page 190, the bottom of page 193.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
So from page 193 to 194.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay. So should I read?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. So it says from the bottom of page 193. So it says the master teacher is saying. So he's talking about so just so that the people understand, he's talking about the doctrine of cause and effect.
Yeah.
So he's elaborating on causation. So, all right, let me start. So he says, but on higher and on lower, the law is always in operation. The blind deity has been abolished by reason. We are able to see now with eyes made clear by right knowledge that everything is governed by universal law. That the infinite number of laws are but manifestations of the one great law, the law which is the all. It is true indeed that not a sparrow drops unnoticed by the mind the all, that even the 9 ether woolly hairs on our head are numbered as the Bible and Quran, and they both have birth dates. So I'll stop there.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to understand that bit there where he's speaking about the 9 ether woolly hairs on our head are numbered as the Bible and Quran.
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand that part.
Great. It's an excellent question. And I love when people are actually studying and reading the scroll and the questions are coming from the scroll. Because sometimes it's so easy for people to just kind of like freestyle and just come off their mind. But that is a great question, and let me answer it for you.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So yeah, and takatirafu. So everything you see around you, as I was explaining before, from the minute thing to the things that are considered unseen to the naked eye, to come into the physical world, and everything you see, as well as the planet itself.
Yeah.
And the solar system and the galaxy and the universes and the multiverses and the omniverse, they're all done by design. Yeah?
Got you.
Let me explain. And this is, it mentions the all there. And we speak about, there's a part of that called the all expanding. And the reason I'm saying that is all by design, meaning that when we say the all expanding, there was a question that was asked. What is the all expanding to? The simple answer is that the all is expanding to itself. That might sound crazy to someone at first, but when you read the sacred wisdom of Tahuti and the way it takes you, the mind, like what it takes you to, everything's by design. So we look at the planet, our planet that we call the planet Earth, or Ptah Nun, or the many names it has.
Yeah.
It's in what we call from the ninth ball, right? Because nine is very important in our doctrine and dealing with nine ether. So
Yeah.
the planet Earth is, if you count, depending on which direction you're counting from the sun, it's in what we call sector 3, right? And then it's in zone 6 and project 24. When we say project 24, this is tying into your question, and I will tie everything in. It's because it was designed to be, to expand up to 24 steps. And when we say project 24, this is why the number 24 is so important. And the next question that normally comes up from that is, why do you have 24 to 24,000 times in terms of the amount of cycles you have to elevate and complete, your time here before you go back to being in the higher realms of the ether? Even though people say 24, it's really 1, because everything that this planet is based on is 24. Why do I say it's only really 1? In the sense that when you look at, I'll show you how 24 becomes 1.
Okay.
When you say 24 hours in the day, you see that 24 hours become 1 day. So that's the 1, right? So the planet Earth is in, as I said, project 24, which means it's 24,000 miles in terms of its circumference. It was designed to grow to 24. And then the genome of the planet is 24,000, as well as the genome of the human body. We have 24,000 genomes, and we have 24 trillion cells. We use the 24-hour clock. Everything revolves around 24. And I'm saying that to say that everything is mathematics and has a design and a number that is counting, and everything has a nutation rate. So going back to the bit you read, and I remember reading in the Holy Tablets, and anyone who has really studied the Holy Tablets and read it properly, there's a section where, and this is how the master is able to show you that he's so advanced and so different from anyone else on the planet, because he is a visitor. In the Holy Tablets, he explains and gives you the number. There's a mosque, the Grand Mosque somewhere. I can't remember the name, but it's in the Holy Tablets.
Okay.
He literally says, let's say, like, you see like how we have a roof and you have tiles?
Yeah.
He tells you the amount of, I can't remember the exact word, but let's say tiles on the top of this roof. And like, there's no one else will do that. So when you're saying the amount of, when it counts and says the 9 ether woolly hairs on our head are numbered, right? That's the level, like when we say numbers, we're talking about the sun heat genes, because we grew from the sun. This is what I'm saying about everything is mathematical. So yeah, every single hair is counted, and it's by supreme mathematics. That's why your hair grows out and curls into the number 9. You see?
Okay.
So yeah, when I said everything is by design, this is how the beings or the elders that designed everything, they actually know how things work. So when people are maybe say on the lower end of like the vibrations and stuff. So here it says like the Bible and the Quran, it says they're numbered as the Bible and the Quran. The numbers of the Bible and the Quran is a mathematical formula and sequence to it. This is why when every single word has a numerical value, and it's been broken down now where you're saying the Strong's number. Like if you want to learn about a word, because it tells you in the scriptures, like in the beginning was the word, when you started to deal with,
Yeah.
when they started to. So even though people have tampered with the scriptures, they didn't know or don't know that there's a divine mathematical formula for every single word and for every verse. So the people or the beings who know this, they can look and see when a number is out of place. So in the Quran, again, they tell you that the numerical value or the number that's over the Quran is number 19, right? And Yanun,
Right.
the being that, Dr. Malachi Z. York, we're saying that being that has incarnated in him is the 19th elder. So when you're reading the Bible, like for example in Genesis, they've
Yeah.
taken the piece out and put it into Jeremiah. It's only someone who has that special gift to be able to decipher and see, like, oh, right, that's out of sequence. Like the Quran is in the wrong order now. Like when people say
Yes.
the first surah is Al-Fatiha, it's not. That's now the 96. So
Right.
there's mathematics, and we refer to this as supreme mathematics over everything. So when we're talking about building, and you talk about masons, right? Because the
Yes.
Freemasons are builders. And when we say a builder, people just think about building as in building buildings and building bridges and building things on the physical world. But the real builders, they build from before the physical things you see. They build, they know how the formulas are put together for the atoms. And this is why in these sacred wisdoms of Tahuti, the most prolific writer on the planet, the one who gave us most of the knowledge on the planet, he's able to start to give you, the secrets, and start to expose things that can be right in front of your face. But if you don't have that divine wisdom, you're not going to be able to decipher it. And this goes all the way from the formulas of how did they get things in motion? How did they build galaxies and universes and so on and so forth? So yeah, you've asked a very, very interesting question. So yeah, it's just saying to you that there's a numerical or a mathematical formula or numbers in everything. Does that make sense?
Got you. And then I think what he went on to say after that, if I read further, was he says, "But what before them?"
Right.
So he's saying that there is nothing outside of law, and nothing that happens contrary to law, contrary to it. So for what I think he's saying is that, because he's on cause and effect, so I think he's saying that every effect has a cause, every cause has an effect, so nothing just occurs.
That's right. That's right.
So I think what he's saying is that, so when he's saying what predates it, obviously the cause or the effect, shall I say, which is religion, the Bible and Quran had a cause which was prior. So
Absolutely.
which would be our way, which we'd find in ancient Egypt. Or what they would refer to as in ancient Sumer, or what the Babylonians did. So would I be correct in saying that? Am I on the right track when I say this?
Yeah, you're right, because if you read it, after he says that, it says, like I just explained, but what about before them? Meaning, like I was saying, like people started off talking about the lowest or the first thing being hydrogen coming to the physical world, but like before them, you're going into the ethers, right? So he's saying there's nothing outside of law, nothing that happens contrary to it. Meaning, like you say, there are universal laws and there are galactical laws. That there are laws that have already been set in motion. That, like for example, when religious people talk about the beginning, they say God created and they go to creation. But he came along and he said, but creating is not the first. To create is to grow stuff. You can grow things by using things to grow. So to grow, a flower, a tree or whatever, you need the seed. But then the seed goes to a point where what came before the seed? How did the seed come to be? What's the formula that makes that seed? So then when you go before, we say before creation is existence. Because you're reading a book that is telling you in the beginning, God created. And you're like, but if your mind is not wired up to think on a higher level, you're going to not
Right.
see that. How can God be there already and they're telling you, or someone's telling you a story about what he did, but they're telling you as if it's starting from that point because it says God created, but God was already there, so God already existed.
He
But
already
there's
existed.
another stage before existence called pre-existence.
Right, right.
And again, like, this is why the sacred wisdom of Tahuti is really one of those that it really
Oh,
pushes your
man.
mental. And like you
This
say, there's a
book,
doctrine here
yeah.
called the doctrine of the mental, because the mental was there pre-existence. Because
Right.
these beings, our ancestors that are outside of what we know as people, places, and things, they created the state called existence to then create things within that. And when the master was teaching us this type of sciences, he was like, we were going through the religious schools at the time, and we were going through the school of Islam, and he was
Right.
like, Allah created the state of nothingness to create things, and people was like, what? How can you create the state of nothingness? But this is where
Right.
we say,
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
start to go beyond the beyond, it's the ether. That's why I started off saying that nine ether is the combination of all gases, conscious and conscience gases. And this is the level of teachings of Wu-Sabat that we have to really break down and explain to people. But let me just finish that little piece because we're already at the end,
Thank
and
you.
it's a great question.
Okay.
It says, but what
Tell
about before them? There is nothing outside of law, nothing that happened contrary to it. And yet, do not make the mistake of supposing that mortal is but a blind automaton. Far from that. The Egyptian teachings are that mortals may use law to overcome laws, and that the
Yes.
higher will always prevail against the lower until at the last they have reached the stage in which they seek refuge in the law itself and laughs the phenomenal laws to scorn. Are you able to grasp the inner meaning of this? So
I
that's
was
the,
going to ask you to elaborate on that last point because I had those highlighted as well. So thank you.
yeah. So going back to what I said about when you say the all expanding, people say all expanding
Right.
into what? When you start to look at everything, right? It's designed in a way that you're going to expand and expand and expand, and then you're going to contract and then rebirth and start again. So when you look at, let's say, anything you take in this duality, you
Right.
look like water. Water is an excellent example to use. Water, as the master explained to us, is always going home. And people say, where is it going home to? It's going home to itself. Water, all around, wherever it is, will always return to itself. As much as we use it, as much as you can look at the oceans, you cannot contain water because it will eventually escape from that container, because it's always
Yeah.
transforming from the physical to that liquid to what we call gas. And that's what I said about the gases. When you get to the higher level of gases, you're now getting back into ether. So when he's explaining here, he's literally saying to you that, everything goes back to itself. So when you take hot, for example, something can be hot, but there gets to a point where it becomes cold, you see, and then it can be so cold that it gets to a point where it becomes hot, because, it can actually, you get like what you call frostbites when it gets too cold, and it can literally,
Yeah.
So when you start to really look at the higher sciences, this is why we're saying nine ether pushes your mind to think outside people, places, and things, because the three-dimensional world tries to trap you there. But because you have your mind, the mental, it can literally take you to the higher. And that's what it says here, that's why when you look at the beings on the planet, this relates to the pushing and pulling and the ascending and
Yeah.
descending.
Law of rhythm.
Right, exactly. So the pulsation, the in and out of breathing, And
Yeah.
it's saying that beings on the lower level, they think that, like I was saying, like they all make like laws and think that they can control you on the sense of man-made laws, but then there's a higher vibration or higher beings that can override those laws. So it goes back to you can't serve two masters. Are you going to serve, biblically say God, or you're going to serve Caesar? So that's really what that is explaining about how you can reach the higher levels with your mind or with the mental, and and realizing that when you're dealing with the doctrine of polarity, cause and effect, meaning that you might think you're getting away with something that you've done here, but in the other counterpart, there's going to be an opposite reaction to your action, and over
Right.
time it will manifest. Even if it's not within you, it's going to manifest in your
Somewhere else.
your offspring or the generations. This is why I was saying that what we do collectively on the planet has an effect on the planet, but there's a ripple effect because everything is connected, and that's what we're
Right.
talking about with the cause and effect. That what I mean, like it would manifest. So now these Adamites that were doing all this chaos on the planet, when they were given 6,000 years to really like reform, the elders tried everything to reform them and change them, but they still were not able to. So there was this time set that after 6,000 years, they're gonna become extinct and
That's
dissipate,
it.
and
Nature
that's by
take its
design.
course.
Yeah, because the cause of all the things they've done over the 6,000 years, it's now catching up, where now the opposite equal reaction has to take place.
Wow.
All right,
This book.
Tahuat. I know I went on long, but it was a great question, and from the
Thank
great
you.
scroll.
I won't take up your time. I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
And then next time, if I'm being honest, I've got 100 questions just on this book alone, and then I'll probably have hundreds more.
Right.
And then what's crazy is when you're reading. I urge anyone and everyone to pick up this book, because as you're reading, it's like the master teacher is giving you a key.
That's
and then
right.
you take that key and you walk in. You're literally it's like you're walking through a door. And it's like, I urge everyone to pick up that book amongst obviously many more books to read. This is just, so, the information is so, the information, is so, it's wow.
Very
It's
profound.
just,
And we've got a scroll here available.
what the master teacher is saying is that this is basic.
That's
So
right.
I'm here reading
This is
it.
basic
I'm like,
information.
This is basic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's like, And then he goes on to say in the book that he tells you, he's literally like, if what I'm saying you don't understand yet, you have more spiritual development to do. So it's like just taking that on board. If I'm not understanding something, it's something that needs to be gone over and over again, or there's the internal works that need to be done in order to raise oneself to be able to accept the information.
Sure.
So
Right.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
And it's been a journey, but as I said, brother, thank you so much. Tawu Tak Lamar.
And Takatira Fuzama. All right.
Yeah, we'll
Wadu.
speak soon.
Tua. Wadu. Yeah, we have this in stock. Nashat.co.uk. And you're supposed to read these books many times, at least 9 times. And we've explained why, because every time you're reading something, you do have the distractions that are taking place. So most of the time, and when we say distractions, it leads to people not being able to concentrate. So the more you read it, the more you're going to get. Rahubat, caller, what's your name? Where you calling from, and what's your question, please?
Hey, this is Southern. I'm calling from
Rahubat.
Atlanta. And I just wanted to ask Ken a few questions.
Yeah, go ahead, Zamaltat. You're speaking to Saken. Rahubat.
Oh, hey, Saken. How are you?
Doing my best. And how are you?
I'm good. I'm so good. I've been so busy working. I got a promotion and I've been checking in your lectures, but I just haven't had a chance to call. But now I'm free and I had to call and say hello. And
You
I
got
wanted to last time I talked to you, we talked about chicken and how it's not real, but chicken. So now it stinks to me. It stinks like
all
like
right.
meat is beginning to stink to me. The only thing I'm still eating is steak, and I still eat fish every now and then. But everything else, Ken, it stinks to me. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the way that I can relate to that is for anyone who ever smoked cigarettes or been around smoke,
I hate
you see
it.
the reaction, how you feel if you know, leave it and then you start recognizing that your clothes and
Hmm.
everything just stinks of it. And, but when you're doing it and it's a habit and so forth, you don't really see it. But yeah, you're right. You start to, yeah, you don't like the smell of things once you start to like kind of cut away from it. So yeah, but go ahead with your questions.
Okay, so I really don't have a question. I just want to tell you a few things. So,
Okay.
well, I do. I kind of got a question. So, I can manifest things, Ken, and how do I can? I want to. How can I say this? I want to. I don't know. I want to manifest other things, like for example, I manifested my speeding case getting thrown out because he was harassing me. I
Yeah.
manifested that, you know what I'm saying? Like he came and he told the judge that he had a bad day. I'm like, what the heck? You gonna tell the judge you had a bad day? You took it out on me? But
Yeah.
that happened. And then I manifested winning $500 at our job raffle. And I also manifested
Well,
it's
because you're
I don't
able
want
to
to.
do it, it's just a
No, go
matter of
ahead.
fully focusing and concentrating on what you want to manifest. And sometimes
Right.
the manifestation, and I cover this, I don't have it with me, in our spiritual conscious journey, the fast track book. Yeah.
Okay.
What happens is sometimes manifestation it's not just based on what you want. This is what we were just talking about with the last caller when we're dealing with the mental, right?
Okay.
It's
Mhm.
about what you're trying to manifest has to align with, like for example, your intentions. It has to align with, is it a selfish, I'm not saying yours is, I'm just giving you like the kind of the science behind it, that if it's something that is going to benefit others, this is why your intentions and the things that you do really have to align so that it will then come about. You will then manifest it. So thank you. So yes, let me see if I can actually. Yeah, here you go. I'm gonna read this. It's on
Okay.
page 102 of I'll read some of it, but it starts on page 102.
Okay.
Manifestation is the power to bring your thoughts from the unseen to the seen. Every thought has weight, shape, color, form, quality, and power. There are two polarities or forces within the body as manifestation of positive masculine and negative feminine with the utilization of the third eye or your pineal gland. As you
Mm.
pray or chant, you activate a vibration in your pineal gland. Your mind will drift from place to place, from thing to thing, needs, sex, lust, and unstable thoughts. This means
Mhm.
that others are on your line. It's not easy when your mind and subconscious mind have been compromised whilst awake or when you are asleep. Your present reality is the materialization of thought forms of divine mind and non physical entities. Nothing would exist if you did not exist. All things come into existence with you. So you
Mm.
are the supreme being in your own universe that affects and effects your body, your reality. You are the all in
Mhm.
all. When you stop growing, that's your limitational being. But when you are thinking, that's unlimited. How far can one imagine? It's all about how clearly you can see it in your mind's eye. Your mind is the gateway to bring things from higher abodes or realms to the physical material world. After all, things on the material plane are merely composed of atoms held together at various densities, much like an architect. You think of something, an object, perhaps a house, then go about drawing it, planning it, etc. The final physical house is then built from the blueprints or the architectural drawings. As simple as it may first seem when you hear people say that all you have to do is think of what you want. This is the bit I really want you to pay attention to, right? And it will manifest. Although that's true, it is actually not that simple. You see, your sincerity, intentions, purpose, and universal alignment and timing are all intricately interconnected to bringing about the manifestation. If it was only as simple as merely thinking of what you want and it appeared, there would be absolute mayhem if misused. Can you imagine what negative thoughts would manifest? On the other hand, beings of high vibration or pure energy beings do have the ability to merely think things into existence. You also have the potential to become such a supreme being. When you have pure, concentrated, positive thoughts, which are sincere and have purpose, usually for the greater good and bigger picture, they align with the universe's purpose and therefore manifest naturally. Often you have to endure severe tests, trials, and tribulations to establish if you are truly genuine or genuine before you are deemed worthy and thereby granted the ability to think, or more appropriately, reason with pristine clarity in order to manifest that which is of service to humanity. You have to lose, I'm going to stop here, you have to lose everything to gain or to get everything. Now that might sound a bit, like when people say the more you give, the more you get. It's not just like, okay, so I'm just going to start giving everything so I can get more because it's based on greed. It's more about you're getting more because of what you're doing with it to better or help humanity. So that's why you would be, people like to use the word like blessed or whatever. But yeah, that's manifestation is like meditation. It's not as simple and easy as just sitting down and closing your eyes. It's really, it goes deep into your being and your intentions and, your heart seat to deal with the ashuk and the love that you're focusing on to get what you want. I hope that helps.
No, that helped a lot, Ken. That really helped. And what I wanted to say about me manifesting everything, like even my husband say it, my mom say it, they say that I'm right about everything except for the lottery numbers, and it's so true. So
Yeah, I get that too. I actually, literally, I get that too, because what is happening, the more aligned you are with the higher beings, your ancestors, etc., they will help you, and like you literally can, command things. This is why it's been misinterpreted in the religious books, because again they put things in there but they don't really fully understand it. Like I was saying to the last caller, like they will say, Allah can go kun fire kun and it just happens, or God says let it be and then it is. But that's really going back to our ancient ancestors who are really so advanced elemental beings that they're able to do that. When we talk about Hikar, Siya, and I'm saying, like, these beings are entities on a very high vibrational, because the mind is that power that allows you to bring things into existence. So it is possible, but it's not, it's like not just for everyone. You have to really be, one of those beings, and that's how you get endowed with certain gifts and you're able to, help humanity. And how Parna Babia Nun he's been endowed with that 720 degrees because in order to be chosen, in order to be in that position, it comes with great responsibility. And you hear people say,
Yes.
you know, with great power comes great responsibility, because you have to go through the trials and tribulations and the tests, and sometimes it can be quite, it can be so challenging that everybody wants the glory, but they don't really want to go through the suffering. As you know, the powers that, like the thing, like I said in that, when I said you lose everything to gain everything. Some people find that hard to even comprehend. Like, but you will find those people who, like, they will tell you when they're successful how they, you know, manifested millions of dollars or pounds or houses or a lot of material wealth. I'm not talking about those who just do it in a negative way, or they, you know, they get it handed to them through like inheritance. But a lot of people tell you they were at their lowest point. They lost everything and felt like, wow, that, you know, and when you're on the floor, the only way is up. So, you know, when you're really destitute and you're stripped off of everything, the reason you're then able to manifest things is because you realize all that material stuff is not what's important. You start going deep into your being, into yourself. You have to dig deep into, like, you just have time now to really contemplate and think about, you know, like what life is really about, what it means, and what you want to do. And you'll find that people will tell you, before I became successful, you know, I was homeless, I was living on the street. You know, they just go on and they give you, and they say you wouldn't believe how I got myself out of that to be where I am today. And this is the process. It's like when you start really thinking about, it's like when you fast, right? Fasting is something that, yes, it has the health benefits and you do it to cleanse yourself and so forth. But one of the things it teaches you is humility, and it teaches you to realize that, look, this is how it feels to someone who doesn't have food to eat and may not be able to eat, let's say, for a week, but you just take it for granted because you can eat every day. So when you are that hungry during the fasting, you realize, wow, like, you know, I've got to help people in that particular situation, which ties into what I was saying about this whole Christmas period, that a lot of the time there's a lot of greed and, you know, gluttony, where people just like just overeat and then waste so much food. And most, if I were chickens and turkeys, I will migrate and go somewhere else before this period, because you know a lot of animals get, you know, they get unalive for this period, and a lot of it does get wasted. And so we have to be a bit more mindful, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I think I've answered that question for you. If not,
Yes, you
let me know.
have. Yes, thank you so much,
You're
so much.
welcome.
And one more question, so Kim.
Sure.
This is also on the lines of me being right about things. So
Yeah.
without going into the whole situation of what happened to me, but there's one person in my life, and they always around for when I'm right about things and everything. So a
Yeah.
situation happened, and with them, and I'm asking them, you know, the truth about the situation, and they told me that what I was thinking was wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to feel about that, because if you're there with me when I'm right about everything, and you know that I'm right about everything, like I just didn't know how to feel about that. I still don't. I got it out of my mind, because my mother told me, like, you know, stop thinking about it or I'll drive myself crazy. But
Yeah, no, the thing is, that's an excellent question to end on. This is, that really relates again to, say, to like the master teacher, right? People know that he writes all these books and he knows everything, and he's a galactical being and he's traveled back and forth in what we call time and so forth. But they will stand in front of him or think like to tell him a lie, or to be like, don't you think that he's gonna know? Or like, do you
yes,
know what I mean?
right?
So it's like people want like the ability to be able to have higher powers, for example. Like, let's say they want to be able to read people's minds, telepathy. And we say it's not about having the power, that, but can you control it? Because if you can't, like you say, it's going to drive you crazy in the sense of you're going to hear everybody's voices and it's just going to be so much noise. But to be a real master is the ability to turn every noise off and tune into a particular frequency or channel of the person that you want to telepathically communicate with or to listen to their thoughts. You see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
what I'm saying is growth, right? When you have these abilities, people don't realize that people are on different levels. The more you study Wu-Sabat, the more you practice, the more your ancestors start to work with you, the more things align with natural ether to help you if you're thinking and it's sincere coming from your heart seat, which is shook with divine love. If it's the intentions, it's like, you know what I mean, behind it. So yeah, sometimes it's hard for people who have those powers that can literally pick up your thoughts, can feel what you're feeling, empaths, and they can feel sad when you're sad, they can literally hear your thoughts. And so you can't really you can't lie. It's not like religion. Wu-Sabat is real. Like, it will give you what you put into it, and the more you become it, the more you are able to. When we talk about these higher senses like telepathy, clairvoyance, and psychometry and intuition, you do start to get aligned with these things, and then you start to be able to do things that others are like, how are you able to do this? How do you know? How come you're always right? And then you have two reactions. You have people who will like it and support it, and you have those who can become jealous or want to be like hating because you have these powers or these abilities, but you gain those or were given them based on the work you put in and the things you did, you see. So yeah, embrace it, but this is where you now have to be amongst and study and be around other people who can help you,
Yeah.
and so that you can know how to, like I said, deal with the responsibility of having the power, and there are other people who have other powers. That there are people that can see auras, there are people that can, like I said, they can just pick up things, and that's what we're trying to get people to realize, that you can pick up things and these powers do work, so yeah, just try and be as humble as you can and just keep studying, and you'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Okay. So with all that being said, so can recommend me 2 books so I can purchase, so I can tap in more.
Have you already got the mind and your potential?
No. I can
Okay,
definitely get that.
yeah,
Okay.
those two are great. I was gonna mention the Sacred Wisdom of Tahuti, but I think that is a little bit more. Yeah, you have to be kind of a bit more ready for that one in terms of mentally. But yeah, those two I would recommend: the mind, your potential, and then there are so many more we can recommend. So, are you in our Telegram group?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting back into it, being that I got some time off. I don't go back to work until next year, so I'm gonna
Yeah, catch up.
dive all the way in. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there are many books we recommend there based on the questions that people ask, and yeah, so I would say definitely go through the chat, go through all the repository of the books that have been recommended for different questions, and you'll get your answers. All right.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Sakan, and I love
Pleasure.
you guys so much, and all you doing. Please keep doing it because we need you. We need the truth.
Thank you. As long as you all keep supporting us, and we will keep doing what we do, because we have, yeah, we've been holding back a little bit. We're going to go in a lot more next year in the Gregorian
Okay.
calendar, but there's a lot more to come. We're just literally scratching the surface. All right. Tawa, why do sister?
All right. Peace and love, you guys. Thank you. Bye.
Why do? Okay, right. We had two long answers there, but let me get back to the chat. This is from In Search for Truth 424. Let me just make sure I haven't skipped any. Yeah, all right. So the question is, Rahubat student teacher, how do I connect with myself, higher self? Also, how do I get in contact with my ancestors to guide me in 2026? Is there rituals that I can do to help with this? Yeah, that question, this is what I'm saying. We've answered that 1,000 times, if not more, in the Telegram group. And all the, what you've heard so far is a part of that. It's about you putting the work in yourself and doing the things like we were saying about the studying, the contemplation, the meditation, the relaxation, and as you say, the rituals where you have your altar and, you connect with your ancestors and ask them and speak with them to guide you. It's alignment. This is where you have a connection to them. They know you, even if you don't know them. And it's the sincerity and the intentions of you really just being like, the reason we have Partner Babylon with us now is because we collectively, as a race of people, have been through so much in terms of how we were mistreated by other races and so forth, right? And anybody on the planet who's had some sort of mistreatment or injustice, and we called out, we wanted to find out, like, we were given terms like God, deities, Allah, and religion, like, this is the way to connect with the higher beings, and they will help you. This is what you were told. And they gave you all these names, whether it's Jesus and Muhammad and this one and that one. And as a people, we were and are, to a certain degree, the most religious people. And so we did all of that, called on to the heavens for help. But we weren't getting the help until one was sent to us. Just like every other race, they had their warners, they had people come to them to guide and help them. We actually really cried out and called for this help. And our ancestors said, okay, cool, it's time. They need this. And they sent one, Partner Babylon, to come and clean up the filth on the planet, to clean up all this chaos, which is really from 6 ether forces that are manifesting and creating all this chaos because of the false, information and the untruths, the lies. So now he's here. So we actually asked for this. But a lot of people, even though he's here, they don't want to make the change. They don't want to put the work in. So unfortunately, that's where you start to hear things like many are called, few are chosen, because you can't force somebody. They have to internally really want this, you see. So when you say, how can you do that? That's what you do by studying, starting to get rid of the bad thoughts and bad habits and the things that are pulling you down. You'll start to rise up in vibration, in your ability to communicate with higher self. Your higher self, that's what we're called. You have an oversoul, and that's dealing with your higher self. So you can start to silence the noise by silencing the mind and the distractions. So you can put in those practices, and then we have the ritual, as I said, to communicate with your ancestors. And that's why I was saying that you said in 2026. Yes, there are rituals to help you. And 2026 is just a marker. You know what happens is funny because you're caught up in a loop. And the 6 ether forces, they want you to be caught up in a loop because that means you never move forward. It's like, imagine you're driving a car and you get to a roundabout and you just keep going around a roundabout and you never get off. You have to, at some point, make a decision. That's why I said, like, make that what you call New Year resolution to say, I really want to get more spiritual. I really want to study more. I really want to know the truth. I really want to watch all the videos on OSM Vision. I want to read as many books from Partner Babylon as possible. I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to like. I'm going to share. I'm actually going to put in the work, and you will see the transformation because we get the testimonies all the time. The comments, when people call up, they're telling us how this is transforming their lives. And it's all by way of Partner Babylon, who has transformed all of our lives that are taking this seriously. So, yeah, decide, because don't do the fake thing where, like I was saying, everyone just overeats, over drinks, over parties and all of that now. And then in the new year, they go, oh, I'm broke. Now I want to go to the gym, and then pay gym membership. And then they don't keep up with it because they drop out after the first month. You know, you got to have courage to start. That's the first step. Every journey begins with the first step, right? So that's the courage. Then you have to be committed. You have to be committed to what you want to do. If you want to be whatever you want to be, this is manifestation. You know, visualize it, plan it out, meditate, and work towards getting that. And that's collectively as well as individually. So I hope that helps you in search for truth. Next question, Reyes Sananda. Okay. Is a hermaphrodite still classed a woman because of the carrying extra chromosome? This is all right. I've been saved by the bell, but I'm gonna take this caller question. Greetings, caller. Rahubat, what's your name? Where you calling from? And what's your question, please?
A woman. Rahubat.
Rahubat.
Dre from the state, South Carolina.
How you doing, Rahubat?
Everything's good. I had two questions. One question I had, it's about the pyramids in Giza, which is back in the day known as Kemet. In the place under the pyramids, there was a spot called the Hall of Amenti.
Yeah.
In that hall, did they have the actual, you could see the stone chambers? Were those stone chambers that they had down there actually used as like rejuvenation chambers for people to actually go into, put their bodies into and get it restored?
Yes, they did. And there are many secrets to the pyramids, and some have to be kept sacred because people obviously are trying to find out, the sacred or secrets that are only secreted to those worthy to know. But yes, this is what, when we say, right, when we say words like we are gods or we are those beings that everyone was looking to and calling gods, we have the ability, or our ancestors, and we're regaining or learning that knowledge, we could regrow limbs. So when you see like the fact that when you cut yourself, the fact that you're able to knit your skin and repair yourself, people call it like keloiding or whatever, that was because we had the ability to regrow limbs and to regrow organs and so forth. But there were actual rituals and things that were done there's certain things like even the Temple of Hathor. It's a mystical place, but yeah, it did have all these rituals that we were able to use. You can find a lot of the writings in the real holy.
The reason why I was asking that though is because when they would go in there to rejuvenate their bodies, would they transfer like their soul conscious essence into another avatar body to use while the old one was being rejuvenated?
See that part about what another body would know. I don't fully have that information, but the thing is that if you apply 9 reasoning to it, we are able to leave our bodies and go back to them. And these are those rituals. Even when you look at like the opening of the mouth ceremony and things like that, that is being able to transport your being. When we start going into technology now, because a lot of today's technology is trying to mimic what we did and dealing with things in the metaphysical. So when you look at like things that are being done now, they're talking about being able to transport your consciousness into different bodies. And I mentioned a series on Netflix called Altered Carbon, that goes into this. But yes, there are many things that we are able to do because we are actually multi-dimensional beings, and we have a lot of secrets and knowledge that has to be given to you, because if you read the Black Book, for example, it explains that the Riskians have evolved to a point where they can, let me see if I can find it. They can literally change their DNA. They have the ability, let me see if I can find it quickly. Yeah, so yeah, we have many abilities. It's just we've forgotten, and we're not. This is what this knowledge is about. It's to get you to a point where you then become a part of the orders. And you hear us mentioning the orders a lot of the time, where you're then taught information that's not going to be just given to anyone, because you have to be worthy or prove yourself to be worthy of receiving that knowledge. Some of which some of us has already been given, but yeah, I'm just trying to find that piece. But continue if you have anything else. Whilst I look for this.
Yeah. Okay. So, last question. So, you're familiar with the movie Avatar, correct?
Tua, yes, I am.
Okay.
Tua
So,
and Nuki.
with that movie, I saw the new one that recently came out, but I was viewing it, looking at it as, is it pretty much a form of cultural appropriation? Because
Yes.
then at one point, originally, we were green like Osiris because we had the chlorophyll in our blood, so we were green. And then at one point, originally back when we lived in the waters, we were blue also too, correct? Just
Yeah.
like those beings in the movie Avatar before
Correct.
we came onto land.
That's right. You're right. You're
Okay.
right, and it is cultural appropriation, because if you study it, you'll find out that there is a tribe that they've actually in Africa that they've basically
The South Sudan tribe.
it's echoing back. That it's actually
Who's saying South Atlantic?
what did you say?
Oscar.
Yeah, sorry. What did you say? I didn't catch what you just said.
The tribe from South Sudan.
Yes, right. And to be honest, this last one, it went into the kind of like the Denisovan and Homo florensis culture, when they started to deal with those beings that had the kind of the things that they can fly on their feet and all of that, which was, it was kind of going away from the original beings, which were clearly, as you said, appropriated from African culture. But the bit I wanted to read for you quickly, just a short part in the Black Book, it says here that as the agreeable beings from the 19th galaxy get nearer to the disagreeable beings from the 18th galaxy, and the time runs out, and the star wars in the form of quasars, meteorite showers, climate alterations. No, that's not the bit that I was trying to find. There was a bit where it says that they were able to, and are still able to, transform themselves and reprogram their DNA. This is what, and going back to, I don't know if you were here when the brother asked a question from the sacred record, and I was trying to say that everything's mathematics and everything has a code and a programming. Just like a good example, computers, they use codes, binary code, which is zeros and ones. And as simple as that is, you can rearrange or arrange the zeros and ones to program a computer to do anything you want. It's the same with our DNA, right? You have these codes, ACGD, TT, right? Those can be rearranged or arranged in different ways to bring about an outcome. So once you've mastered the coding that is in your DNA, you can just rearrange them in a particular sequence. This is how the human genome was basically deciphered. And you can arrange your DNA to produce different outcomes. So we could literally, any environment we find ourselves in, we can transform or transfigure ourselves. And then you have beings that a lot of people know about, like the reptilian beings who are able to shapeshift, So yeah, this is something that we did and can still do, but you have to be taught and to know how how to do it. To what?
Okay.
Overstood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because just last thing on that same last question, piggybacking off of it. So when we were in the waters, we were blue. And when we came on land, we were originally green, and then we rusted over time to get this copper color complexion.
Yeah, it's the environment you're in that produces the color that you take, you see, because the reason like we are rusting or brown now is because because of the chlorophyll. You know, when you look at plants, plants are green because of the chlorophyll, but with us, it's because of the loss of the magnesium. You see, the iron then turns to rust. So depending on the environment you're in, it would then change your appearance. So if you're on a planet that has 3 suns, you're gonna see different types of plants and different types of, as you say, complexions, etc. Because your body, your skin is the largest organ, and the sun is giving what photosynthesis, which means that it's energy that you're taking in, and this is what the plants need. And so you're the same as an electromagnetic semiconductor. So you will receive 3 doses of the sun, which will mean that things will grow differently and they will, manifest in different ways, including the colors and so forth. So yes, the environment you were in, that's why when you're saying these beings, like some of them were topaz in terms of color or green like Osiris, as you say. And yes, those from the waters, you look at the sirens, they have that different colors, and you're right, that's where they get, as you said, the cultural appropriation from.
I got you. Because pretty much it seems like every movie that we see, or even back then, they play in your face. They're
Absolutely.
telling stories about our history or about us, and then they're making hundreds of millions of billions of dollars off of it, selling it back to us as entertainment.
Yep, that's right. That's why we quote a lot of movies, because what people don't realize about the movies is that they're used for a number of purposes. One is the way they create economics or financial stability for their people, right? The people the actors and so forth, because when you look at the industry, you get paid a lot of the times even before the movie comes out, and these movies are insured with insurance companies. So whether they flop or they don't, they still make money from it. And you're right that there's that level, but then there's another level where they're sending out messages to the masses. And unless you're able to decipher or see through the message, you're going to just think it's entertainment. And a lot of people, when they take it as entertainment, they don't take the seriousness of the message. And so, you have a lot of people where when the Black Panther movie came out, everyone was like, they felt that, I guess, motivated and energized, and were like, yeah, people were going to the movies wearing their dashikis, and everyone was on this, Wakanda forever and all of that. But who was raking and making the money? And after a while, it wears off. But that was actually based on our culture of Wu-Sabat. And a lot of people didn't realize this. And you look on the movie, you see the script is our language, our harfat is in there. So you look at it, it's like there's a culture of a group of people that have land where they live, where they have this high power technology, right? They call it vibranium, which is really, you can hear the word vibes, right? And these people have their own culture, their own language, etc., etc. And they have so much information. Now, when we were building Tamaray, and think about where it would be today, over 20 years later, without the master's incarceration and the dispersion of our people, now we're everywhere and trying to rebuild. But what I'm saying is, if you studied it properly and looked into it, you see that, going back to what you're saying about appropriation of our culture, that was literally telling you about, Musbatu and our culture as you know what I mean, Sabians or Nawapians. But who, you know, is going to see that? And we can go on movie after movie after movie, and you'll see that you're talking about things like, you know, our sciences. Most of what the master teacher has written over the last 50 years has been made into movies. You know, but you had other people like George Lucas, which when you really go into that, into the whole Hollywood thing, and Lucas ties into Lucifer and what they do with movies and what
The guy that so-called created Star Wars that stole the story from the black woman.
Exactly. So I'm saying when you start to look at these, you're right. The movies do have messages in them, and some people get the message, and it's multimedia because you're able to visualize things with the, you know, effects. You're able to listen. You know, you're using all the different methods of receiving that information for your, you know, your sound, the ears, the eyes, and it's all like very. It leaves an impression in your mind or your imagination. So it's a good way to get a message out. And movies are, you know, like you say, they're also, if you're part of the industry, it's a way of also, yeah, paying the people that are belonging to that whole system of making movies. And we got to have our own movies.
Last thing, just to piggyback off you talk about with the movies. So in that industry behind the scenes, that's still being controlled by those Canaanites, those reptiles, or what we would classify as like draconian beings that's pushing that agenda.
Absolutely, because, you know, it always, when you look at the industry, whether it's the music industry or the film industry or the industries that can reach the masses, these are tools that are utilized because they will, going back to what I was saying about the looping, people will be doing the same thing that they were doing 20 years ago, going to church every Sunday or going to the mosque every Friday or standing on the corner singing the same songs, you know, fighting for reparations in the so-called, you know, civil rights days, and they're still fighting for reparations today. You know, they were doing this, they have, you know, rappers and different rappers just go in the cycle, the ones that are popular today, and then they just keep promoting the same message that, you know, their puppet masters want them to promote. And we can look at every facet of society, unless you're not following, they will pay you and give you riches and money to play the clown, to put out a particular message, to have you, you know, just wasting your life and chasing a dream or a star, to be a star that you will never be, you know, and it's by design, unless you wake up from that cycle, that loop of 6 ether spells. You see, so yeah, you've asked a great question, but I've got to move on. There are so many other questions I've got to attend to. All right.
So,
All right. Appreciate love. Wadu. Okay. Let's get back to where were we? Remember to hit that like button, subscribe, share the videos, and let's get many people on Wu-Sabat. Okay, I'm just signing in because it won't let me do the poll unless I do. Okay. Right, we have 87% of you so far that have liked, hit the like button. Let's push to get to 100%. All right, let's go to the next question. Rahubat, okay, just answer that. Yeah, we were answering Reyes Hernandez's question about hermaphrodite still classed as a woman. When you say woman, and you can hear it like you say, woman has man included in that word, woman, and every word you use to try and describe the gender will have a man inside the woman. So when you have, that's what we're saying, that we're saying hermaphrodites, but when you look at females, they're actually hermaphrodites anyway, in the sense that they are able to have both sexual organs. And we've explained many times, I've explained many times by way of our teachings that, you know, when you look at the baby as it's growing, when it's a fetus or like growing, in by the 6 weeks, it's genderless. And then you start to get whether or not it's going to become male or female, you know, the woman can decide that that gender of the child, and either the penis grows outwards or it goes inwards and becomes what a woman has as a clitoris, right? And women were able to secrete fluids. And I was trying to explain this with a brother last week, and basically were able to reproduce by themselves. So yes, in that respect, you know, you're dealing with they're still the carrier of the, because you're asking about the chromosome, they're still the carrier of the mitochondrial DNA. Yeah, so yeah. Next question. This is from Victor Karaoke 8236. Greetings, Saken. Always a pleasure to learn. I want to ask, what's the meaning of the crescent moon under the Ankh Tui and the stage podium of two, okay, inverted pyramids on your right? Where's the Ankh Tui with the crescent that he's referring to? All right. Anyway, I can explain it. The crescent moon. Maybe is it on that one? All right. But anyway, we're basically, we have a master secret. Gosh, I don't want to spend time looking for it. That explains all our symbols, and oh, I know what he's talking about. Yeah, we have this. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I was trying to look for it, but yeah, it's a description of. Yeah, I know what he's talking about. I can see it in my mind. Yeah, so the Ankh Tui. What's the meaning of the crescent moon under the Ankh Tui? Oh, you know about the Ankh Tui. The crescent is really a craft, all right? No, it's not really a moon as such, because what the master explained to us before, that when you look at the symbols of religions, Islam, you know, dealing with Judaism, they have a star and a crescent, and they explain that it's the moon, and then the crescent, which they have like a 6-pointed star or a 5-pointed star. The 5-pointed star, as you know, it's the pentagram. When you look at the word penta, it's dealing with the 5, right? And then you have the 6, which is also the Jewish interlocking star. These are representation where they're saying it's the sun, but it's an illusion, because the crescent, if it was a moon, as they say, it's bigger than the sun, which doesn't make sense. It's back to front, because you can't have the sun contained within the crescent or the moon. And if you look at even the Nation of Islam, they have that 6-pointed star. I mean, they have the crescent and the star. And the two together, 5 and 6, is dealing with the 11 sons of Canaan, who, when they take over a country or when they're ruling over a country, they stamp it with that star, one of the stars. And it goes into a lot. So you look at the pentagon or the pentagram, you start to look at the goat of Mendez. That's what it really ties into, yeah? But what we're using it as, it's not necessarily a star, it's the pyramids. As you can see, there are different pyramids, which is used to trap the devil, if you like, okay? Using that term loosely. But yeah, the crescent, if you look at the craft that we call the manjet. Normally you see it on some of the scrolls as well. Let me see if I can find it. If you look closely, we're saying that different, you can look at a symbol and there are many meanings to it. And like a clock, you look at the clock, somebody might say, all they see is two hands. And, but then someone else will look at it and go into the intricate details of how it's working. So let me go back to the second part of the question. Oh yeah, the podium of the inverted pyramid. This is ascending and descending. This is what I was saying about if you were to take a triangle, people are going to look at me now and go, oh, he's with, look, Jay-Z and the Illuminati. But if you got a pyramid like that, as above, rising up, and then so below. So if you had a line, this also represents like the hourglass, but this will be rising up, this will be pulling down. So you have opposing forces in terms of the polarity, agreeable and disagreeable, yeah, rising up and coming down. So the beings and the 6 ether forces or beings that want to pull you down lower, that's symbolic of that. There are so many, breakdowns to it, but as above, so below, ascending and descending, so pulling and pushing, centrifugal and centripetal forces, contraction and expansion, in and out, breathing in and out, oscillation, up and down, movement. So there's so much to it. But yeah, that's literally a few that I can give you right now when we're talking about the crescent and the inverted pyramids, all right, on your right. Also, as I said, the hourglass, where if you look at an hourglass, you have the sand, and then it's kind of like dripping down, and when the sand is over at the top, you have to turn it over. So we're looking at a time period we're in now where 6,000 years of 6 ether forces time has run out as of the year 2000. And what you're seeing is the remnants of, or the residue of their removal in this new sun cycle. And for those beings that are waking up, reactivating, coming onto high consciousness, it's pulling them up. So you have the opposing forces and you have to decide which one you're in, because before it got contaminated, you had originally a positive green planet with agreeable beings in what we called Nupu, or the green zone. Then beings came here, disagreeable beings came and started to create chaos, and they got quarantined into a zone known as the red zone, or Zupu. And eventually what happened is the mixture created the chaos on the planet, where now you have people that are doing disagreeable things or following the ways of, as they call him, Lucifer, the devil, and all these other names, which literally just means that they're literally pulling you down because they want you to stay here and do the looping of reincarnation so they can cipher your energy. Yeah. So you have to decide. You can't serve two masters. Are you trying to ascend in every way, consciousness, physical, success in every way, or are you trying to go down and feed these negative forces? If the more of us on the planet were activating and waking up, they wouldn't be able to have the spell over the masses and the control so much. So this is why we are just as responsible for what's happening on the planet as those that are causing the chaos. If you allow them to, then you're, it's like saying, if you see something and it's broken and you don't fix it, then you're part of the problem. So you have to decide, are you a part of the problem or are you a part of the solution? All right, let's move on to the next question. And this is from Keith Albina 6445. Rahubat Zamal Saken. Question, is there going to be more than 144,000 that is going to be picked up, or just 144,000 only. And adverts come up, right? Get rid of that. And are some people going to have to go underground? Some not at all. Great question. The simplest way, I like to, when I answer questions, I try my best to make it as simple as I can. Think about it this way. If you're going on a flight and you're traveling to another country and you've already booked your flight, there is a time when that flight is going to take off, right? Doesn't matter what airline it is that you're flying with. There are a number of passenger seats or seats on that plane. It's got to leave at say 1 p.m., right? So when you get there, sometimes there are people that didn't get there on time, didn't check in on time, and they've missed their flights. And that flight would take off when it's due to take off, because it's all scheduled and you're dealing with the air traffic and all kinds of factors. Sometimes you get on a plane and the plane is empty. Like, there's just a few people. So although there are 144,000 seats for 144,000 passengers, there are factors for you to make it and get to sitting down, and you're like, made it. You know, you're just waiting for takeoff. You start phoning, yeah, I'm on the plane. Yeah, I made it. I checked in. I'm ready to go. You made it. You're relaxed and you're waiting to go. But then there are going to be people that get to the checkout. They're like, sorry, check-in is closed. You missed your flight. So yes, although there are a number of seats, you have to be able to make it. And the criteria might be things like, in order to sit in your seat, you have to weigh a certain amount. You can't be overweight and you can't be underweight. You got to remove, a lot of metals from your body, or the elders will take care of it. There are many things you have to do. So yeah, there are seats. If you don't make it, those crafts are going to leave and take off without you. All right? So it'll be great if every seat is occupied. And yes, if it gets to that stage where the planet is in total chaos, those who know how and where to go will be guided to go there, like you said. Some people think that, like you mentioned, underground. Some people have already built like underground bunkers and tunnels and things like that. But if it's your time to be extinct, you're not going to be able to get away, because nature will find you. Like, water will find and drown those who are not supposed to still be here. And those who are will be guided to safe places. This happened already before in the past, when we mentioned about, if you watch the video by the master teacher called People of the Sun, it's either the Elohim or People of the Sun. He explained when this happened before, because you've had meteorites that have hit this planet before, like 17,250,000 years ago, and even as recent as 2,250,000 years ago. And the beings that were on the planet at that time, they were guided by the elders who knew what to do to go under the waterfalls. These were your Pataites, right? You had the Watusi, the Pataites, and then some Hindu beings at the time as well. And those were the ones that survived because they knew what to do. And then once everything had subsided, they came back out. And yeah, so there have been many catastrophes on the planet, and those who know what to do, it's actually happening now. It's like when you have even yesterday there was a sinkhole in certain places. Sometimes you get tsunamis in certain places, floods, hurricanes. Some are man-made using, weapons. So if you are someone that is in a place that one of these, they say natural disasters take place, then you will know when to basically leave or how to survive. Some people survive and others don't. So this is what we're saying, like you have to be prepared, because we can see what's going on the planet right now, and love can conquer all things if you are coming from that unconditional love we call ashuk, and work together. This is why so much, it's so important for us to come together as a people collectively. Okay, next question. Last storyteller, Horus 7565. Tawats again for the video you did on success. It was very informative and should be added to videos that will change the way you view life. Thank you. And again, Tawat, again, we just give you the little jewels. Like I said, man, we've been holding back, and next year, and when we work with people that are really serious and they book a one-to-one, do you know what I mean? And we go into the details of how to really help them achieve success, no matter how you measure success, because success is not always about money. But yeah, we're gonna give more information. That's why the platform that we use to do the academy and the language and the different courses is called what? Disruptive Solutions for Success. I know sometimes we get lazy and just call it disruptive solutions, but it's not disrupting things for the sake of it. It's disrupting things for success, giving you solutions for success. And that's what it's about, however you measure success. So yeah, book that one-to-one, contact us if you want us to help you achieve success. Okay, can you explain to me, this is from Grace Njoki 8123. Can you explain to me as to why Dr. Malachi is called the Lamb? Great question. He's not only called the Lamb, he's called the Lamb, and he's also called the Lion. These are referring to the nature, where a lamb is more humble, soft, caring, very, appealing. And then the lion is more, what's the word I'm looking for? Assertive. So it's the two natures that we talk about, your agreeable and disagreeable side, in the sense of, when we say agreeable and disagreeable, you have to remember that it's polarity. It's about positive and negative and balancement between the two. So you need to express yourself in a loving, caring way, but at the same time, there are times when you need to enforce and be assertive when it's necessary. It's like being a parent, and the parent will have the time when they cuddle you, they give you that kind of love, but at the same time, they also keep you on the straight and narrow when you start veering off or going off, you know what I mean? And they will kind of, even though they still love you, but they will still give you that look, or that, that energy that, boy, I better just fix up. Yeah, so the lamb, when you start to look at the characteristic of a lamb, he's got that loving, caring nature. There's a part of that called Rams or Lambs as well that is good for you to read, because it's explaining about how, when you're bringing offspring into the world, are they going to be more like dealing with the ram, or dealing with the goat, dealing with the destructive six ether energy forces? Is that what they're coming here to do, or are they going to be groomed to become those golden children, or those supreme beings that are going to make a positive impact on the world or humanity? All right, so that's that one. Let's keep going. No sound. I think that was a while ago. Okay, is that how many questions I've got? Okay, in the Bible, Nimrod was building the tower. Does it have relation with Sabat language? Yes, it does. We've done a whole video that you can check out. We've also got the language course that goes into detail about this. But yeah, it was all about the language. It wasn't so much about, as they say, the tower. But the tower was a way to block, because the tower was like an antenna or a device that the Anunnaki were using from their craft, Nibiru, to send frequencies and telepathically and so on influence the people to do what they wanted them to do. So Nimrod, being the son of Cush, went back to his father's land in Africa and learned the language, Misbatia, and then he was able to come back and teach his people, and that was able to block out the frequencies. And we're doing that today for those who are learning the language, because it recalibrates you and gives you a protection. Because when I say everything's mathematics and everything's dependent on you as a being, you have the ability to have a shield around you, utilizing psychic defense. And these frequencies, these vibrations, these methods of controlling the masses mentally will be blocked. So you still be able to use your own mind, you see. So it has a lot to do with the language. Reye Sanander again, talking about golden children. Has anybody seen the movie Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining? If not, please check it out. Okay. That's some intense facts on having pets. Okay, that's from Faye Mohammed. Ricardo, I'm going through these quickly because I can see we literally have like 19 minutes left. 21:11. All right, let's Ashok. 1,000 million thanks for student teachers. Respect. Okay, Tawuat is all the master's works. All right. And yeah, remember, if you would like a one-to-one with myself, the email is in the chat, info@osmvision.co.uk. Let's get that booked in, all right? Tori Edwards again, awesome for the one-on-one information. Okay, let's keep going. SMKOF 13. Rahul Batsaken, if you ever get the chance, can you do a video on the Part Tarak soulmate, if you can, please? Thank you. Did we do soulmate already? No, we haven't, have we? All right, thanks for the suggestion. We'll look into that. What is the name of the book being mentioned? Wow, that was a while ago. Okay, we're going to send it in the chat. That was a Sacred Wisdom of Tahuti, yeah. Can I help the sister out okay, I'm going to skip that. Okay, let me see, what did he say? Can I help the sister out? Just feel it like you already have it and you feel like you're helping others, then it will come. Okay. Right, questions. Who was here first between man and animals? Example, lion, chickens, also, was it the chicken or the egg first? All right, so woman was here first, if you're saying between man and woman, or you're saying animals. When you say animals, it depends on which animals, because there were animals that were here, like in the deep seas and so forth, before our humanoid type came on. And the question about was it the chicken or the egg first, we asked that to show you how easy people can be kept in a loop, in a three-dimensional world. Like we say, like most people are caught up in people, places and things because you've been programmed that way. So you always think in threes, right? 1, 2, 3, ABC, morning, afternoon, night, breakfast, lunch, supper, and this can go on and on and on, right? So you're put in a situation where you're limited by the programming. So when someone says, what came first, the chicken or the egg? You get caught in a loop because you're going, well, the chicken had to lay the egg, so the chicken was there first. But then, how does a chicken come about? Because it comes from the egg. You see what I mean? And you just get in that loop and you're trying to, it's like an illusion because it's like a magician. The magician will have you focused on something else whilst they give you the illusion that they've just done some magic. So the question just has you in a loop and you don't think, let me go before that and say, where does the chicken come from? You see? Because if you're just stuck on, was it a chicken or the egg? That's something that you're going to be in a loop. But the chicken itself comes from something. So that thing that it comes from something. So when you're looking at animals today, they have evoluted from other animals, and the chicken, believe it or not, or accept it or not, came from the dinosaur. So the answer would really be none of them because they didn't come first, you see. So it's like the one with the, did man come before the woman? People will say man first because the man has to impregnate the woman for the woman to produce the child. So the man must be first. But until we say no, if you go back and look at everyone on the planet, they come from a woman. That's an actual fact. Even though people want to say, no, I was created by my creator. And you say, who's that? They take it away from their immediate parents and say God or some being, Allah or whatever, and you say, but that being, you can't prove they exist other than by hearsay or through words in a book that somebody wrote. So the question is, you have to take it before to the point where women were able to procreate by themselves. You see, so the woman would be first. All right, let's keep going because I want to get through as many questions as possible. Luis Moriando, is the master teacher the author of the book, The Kabbalion? No, the Kabbalion is a watered down version of the teachings of the master teacher, like from what you call the same book we were looking at, the sacred wisdom of Tahuti, and the doctrines in there got watered down. And that's where you get all kinds of versions of scrolls. All right. I'm giving short answers now because I'm trying to get through as many as I can before we run out of time. Right, where were we? Because scientists, that was a great question about the pyramids. Okay. Because scientists and archaeologists, have we got any questions on other platforms that I'm not, because I've been focusing on the YouTube. Okay. Yeah? Do you want to give me any? Actually, look, I've reached the end. Let me just finish these quick ones and then we'll go on there for the last few minutes. Yeah, so I was saying that the emerald tablets and the sacred wisdom of Tahuti, a lot of the teachings from the master teacher got watered down and then given back to you by others who didn't fully understand them, but they saw an opportunity to try and sound like it's from them and try to come like they're heavy, but they really can't break some of the information down, and it got perverted and distorted. Sometimes research on YouTube and Safari keeps me up at night. I'll be up from 3 in the afternoon to 5 in the morning, just asking questions and watching videos. Okay. Yeah, when you want to learn and study something, you go in deep. All right.
I'll give you one from the Facebook.
Okay.
What are the qualifications or requirements to be seated on that plane with the 144,000?
Oh wow, that's a big question, and there are so many books that cover it. But we've spoken about most of it. Like, you have to be taught by the master teacher in the sense of this doctrine is what is going to transform you inside out. But it's not just the knowledge and the acquiring of the information, it's the application of it as well. And yeah, so in order, you can't really, and you have to be chosen by the master teacher in the sense of he has a list, and that list it's a live list that changes all the time. Have I got a question? Oh, it's a live list that changes all the time. So this is why most of the books say you have to work to perfect yourself to go back, because you can't just like get dipped in water. This is why people say they're born again or they take these rituals. But what they don't realize is if you're being born into a religion, you're actually giving your allegiance to these extraterrestrial gods in religion that have you trapped. So you have to do the same in the sense of renounce them, be born again into Wu-Sabat. Again, you have to learn and know more about what Wu-Sabat is, study the doctrine, apply it, and get involved and be around and be in a situation where, you know, you have that opportunity to be around the master teacher. But honestly, you don't know if you're going to make it, so you have to just do the work. And like in the Golden Children book, Patrak, you know, you don't try and claim it or try to be like, you know, it's like focus on doing what you need to do. And if you're doing the right thing, you will be in the right place at the right time. I have two questions. This is going to be the last.
There's one after that.
No, I'm on here, and then I'll take yours, yeah? Oh, yeah, okay. I have two questions. Do you believe in the Anunnaki, and how do you feel about the advanced lost city of Atlantis? We don't believe in the Anunnaki. We know about the Anunnaki, and the reason I say that is because there's a big difference from believing something and knowing something. A lot of people push in belief, because belief doesn't really designate that you know. It's just your belief. And so the Anunnaki, we've made a whole video on the Anunnaki, breaking it down to the point that, you know, no one really else we know has done. And the master teacher was teaching about the Anunnaki from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and it's only in the 2000s that other people, apart from back then, it was people like Zachariah Sitchin, and he gave him to us to research because he was always bringing out new information or making the information available that others weren't touching. And so, yes, we know about the Anunnaki and the whole story about who they are. They're different species of Anunnaki as well. There's like the Dingir, there's like the Shamgao, there's the agreeable draconians and disagreeable reptilians. Because when you're saying Anunnaki, it's people don't, when you break it down, as we've said many times, and I will say again, is the beings that Anu, the most high of the Sumerians, sent to the planet Ki in groups of 50, right? And they came, and those were his family. Excuse me. We've also done another video on extraterrestrials where we speak and go into and show you the Anunnaki pictures and so on. So yes, we do know about the Anunnaki, and we also know about the city of what people are called Atlantis. And there's a Patarak called Atlantis. When I say Patarak, these are, it transfers to as the way. And that's these little small scrolls that it's the way, it's our way. And if I can find, yeah, there you go. Atlantis, right? And these are very small, but don't be fooled by the size. Atlantis goes into what you want to know about Atlantis. The thing is, it wasn't called Atlantis. The tis, when you look at words, as we've been taught languages, when you look at words like tis at the end of them, that's the Greeks. So, trying to think of a word, Atlantis, what else? Yeah, but it was Utla or Atla, and it was a place that is to vacate or to go to, and they took that and added the tis, or when you see tis or us, like Osiris, that's another word, like Osiris, Atlantis, words like that are from the Greeks, and the Greeks called it Atlantis. All right, but yeah, we have a lot of information, but we've only got 5 minutes left, so for this live, so seek out those scrolls. And a lot of these cultures, like the Maya as well, these are other beings that they left or disappeared, or they were picked up and taken away, much like what we're talking about now with 144,000. And years to come, those that will talk about, oh, did you ever hear about the people called the Nuwapians? And they just left, they just disappeared. Where did they go? You know, similar story, all right? Okay, we're coming to that last question. And that's from Kim Carter, 7453. How can one control the anxiousness of the body due to being so aware? Yeah, I know that great question. This is why the scroll, the mind, is so essential, because with the mind, and also we have a book called The Breath. These are all practices because you can regulate your breathing, you can regulate your heartbeat, you can regulate the systems that are making you anxious and agitated. So you have to calm the mind. And then you can do things like the breathing exercises. You can do things like monitoring your heartbeat and slowing it down, you know, and you can start to know how to control noise. When I say noise, there's white noise. There's a lot of things and things around you. This is where meditation also comes in, because it's about controlling you're in an environment and everything around you. You can be in the world, but not of it. So within your space, you can have calm, serenity, and be able to be like, even though there's chaos all around you, you're still able to remain calm and control your breathing, your mind, your thoughts, and then, yeah. Okay, last point, I see Airman Jones 1. It says, I disagree with Nibiru being a craft. You can disagree all you like. We don't stop people from disagreeing. Like, that's just you, innit? Like, the planet Earth you're on is a craft. And if you actually do some research on the word craft, you will see that what is a craft? Because a craft can mean many things, right? Like you can have a craft where you're like a carpenter, for example. Yeah. I'm just giving you an example so that you can see how when you say I, and the word I is, you know, it's something that it's your opinion, or the way you think, and we can't stop you from thinking or having an opinion. But what is a craft in the sense of what we're talking about? The planet Earth is traveling in space, right? It has a speed and it has a route. This route takes it around the circumference of around the sun. And people say it takes the planet 365. Obviously it fluctuates up and down because time is messed up, and you get all of these leap numbers and, you know, daylight savings, and just to recalibrate based on the fact, as I mentioned before, it being on a 24,000 miles in terms of its circumference. So it depends on how you view a craft. And we have a lot of information on the craft. I mean, you can disagree, but then you didn't say what it is. So anyone can say, I agree or I disagree. But at the end of the day, there's information and facts that has been presented and given by the master teacher telling us it's a craft. And like I said, it's your view of what a craft is. Okay, we've come to the, you got any more? Okay, that was the last question. And also, when people are new for the first time, don't be in such a haste to agree or disagree. At least take the time to really get to know what we teach, who our master teacher is, go through all the videos that we've put out, you know, at least study some of the scrolls for yourself. And it's a process, you know. Some people just want everything instantaneously because we live in a world of fast food, fast this, fast that. Everybody just wants everything quickly. But natural nature has a way of doing things. And when you plant a seed, the normal process is it takes time to grow, and then it, you know, matures, and then it bears fruit, you know. So what we're saying is don't just judge quickly. Like, take your time, get to study, get to know us. And at least if you do a thorough investigation, you can have a more informed decision when you make up your mind about who we are, what we teach, and so on. But like I keep saying, Wu-Sabat is the heavyweight champion of the world when it comes to actual facts, knowledge, and information. So as usual, we're still humble because it is about sharing that information, each one teach one, because we are still responsible collectively as to the fate of our, not faith, F-A-I-T-H, but F-A-T-E. What we do has an impact on what happens to all of us that are on this planet, because there are beings on the planet, I know I'm going over a little bit of time, but there are beings on the planet who they're hell-bent on creating chaos and divisions and destroying this planet and destroying those, and then those of us or those that are left behind or here, and they want to get out of here. But we have the power and the ability to manifest the planet and the world that we want. So don't take that lightly. You know, the consciousness is a collective consciousness. And the more of us that wake up, the more we can force the disagreeable beings off. And that's happening. And yeah, until next week, same time, same place. It's going to be our last one for the Gregorian calendar of this 2025. So we look forward to seeing you there. And yeah, study and bring questions and comment on the videos so that we can respond to any comments you have. We give thanks, we give a shook to all those that support OSM Vision and support us and spread Wu-Sabat. We want the master teacher home. Support by buying that song, Freedom for the Master Teacher, you know, and help spread Wu-Sabat to the world. Ta'ukum. Thank you all, and wadu.